Okay, let's look at day one, Atlanta Blaze Show. Day one for me was Saturday. I would have liked to make it Friday, but I couldn't. So were there two main knives I wanted to pick up at this blade show, and one was a Hubertus Shell Puller, Johnny Cade knife, and then the other was a Latama Italian Switchblade. So day one, I was able to pick this up for a. They're not cheap. It's been on my wish list for a while, but I picked it up for a price that I was happy with from Latham's Vintage Knives. So, and I talked with him for a little bit. Told him I had a pretty extensive switchblade, mainly Italian, but some German collection. I wanted to add this. And so I was able to get that for a price I'm happy with. It was still a lot, but I was happy with it. And then I was not able to get a Latama that day. I didn't come to terms. I didn't know that he actually had any Latamas. I was pressed for time. And then the actual Latama was there. They didn't have a business card. And they had a real nice one, but I couldn't quite come to terms that day. I wasn't ready to. And they're in such demand, they don't have to negotiate with anybody. So while I was there, I picked up some other knives. These were just dirt cheap. I figure if nothing else, I can give these away as gifts to some of my children. They're all grown and out of the house, but some of the boys might like that. They like to do a little bit of that woodsy type stuff. So they were like between $11 and $14. So I figured for that price, I just picked some up. So those were maybe the first thing I got. Let me go ahead. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. I'm having a hard time setting up my camera. I'm just working on an iPhone. But let me show you this a little better. Green bone. They had red bone as well. I liked it. I like the green a little better, but I wouldn't mind getting both, but it's hard to justify the cost. But I really do like that knife. Then right across from him, and they had some of these Dolphin Italian stilettos. This can be real tough because it's an actual picklock, not a swivel bolster. Let me see if I can do that. Yep. And I had thought about buying some of these. I got a pretty extensive Italian stiletto collection, so I was able to pick this up for a few bucks cheaper than I can get it for sale online. Usually almost anything I buy is sale price or like deeply discounted. A lot of it through the military exchange, AFES and GovX, and that's the first time it false fired. That's probably use air if you don't push good. Yeah, that was me. You want to really push down good when you do that, not just barely push because it'll drag. So anyway, so I was happy with that. I got that for a few bucks cheaper, and I can get it online. And then I've had my eyes on these for a while. Bear and Son. I know some people don't like them if you're a serious flipper, but I've got a pretty extensive Balisong collection, and I've had my eye on these. I've been waiting for them to go on sale. I've seen this go on sale a good bit. Just never quite pulled the trigger, but I was able to get them to give me a price I was happy with for both. So they'll go nicely with the collection. And these feel like they're on, I'm not a flipper, but these feel like they're on bearings. I'll have to look. I was a little rushed at the show because I arrived a little bit later Saturday than I had planned to. So I picked those up. And then I was actually leaving. I was rushing through the ballroom, the secondary one with a lot of the Balisongs and whatnot, and stumbled across this company. Now, I had seen them, watched a video, how it's made, and I was real impressed with that. I was not intending to buy anything, and I had already spent quite a bit. But I bumped into these guys, and they were very convincing. And so I ended up buying two of these. And these are beautiful knives. The craftsmanship on them is just amazing. Handmade. And a lot of detail. So if you look at that little that bumblebee, that same emblem's on here. And each one's a little unique. These were this is bone, and this one's horn. And they go even way more intricate beyond see, this is beautiful. So I'm happy with that. But they go way more intricate beyond anything that I can afford. But they made me a real fair offer on both of these that I had a hard time refusing. Real nice guys. So, but again, if you hadn't seen, I will link that, how it's made. It's just amazing to watch these be made. This might be the finest handmade knife that I have. So I really like the Italian stilettos, and I like the German autos, but those aren't super well made. If you know anything about Italian switchblade, you understand what I'm saying. And I'll talk more in depth about that when I get to the Italians. But this is probably the finest handmade knife that I have. So I'm happy with that purchase. I was able to get a leather holster for it with the emblem. I'll never use it because these will just go in a collection on display. And then the larger one comes with this pretty cool display box. And you close it and the knife blade sits right in there. So that's really neat. And they actually come with a little certificate, serialized, serial number, whatnot, little booklet. So really cool. While I wasn't intending to make this purchase, I'm happy that I did. And I'll probably go see him again next year. I probably will. So that was all day one. I was rushed out. They closed the place on me. So the main one I wanted to get was this. So I was real happy. That's been on my wish list for a long time. Still spent a lot, but it is what it is. So I've got that in the collection. And then I was happy to pick these up. I was kind of hoping to get a few more Balisongs, but this was a lot of money here. But why did I go back Sunday? I was not planning on it. And I only bought a one-day pass, so I had to buy another pass Sunday. The reason was, as I was talking with Michael from Lathams Vintage Knives, we got to discussing that he might want to purchase a broken vintage Italian stiletto. And he was really interested in it, so I decided to come back up there. I wasn't sure. I told him I wasn't going to. I'd just come see him next year. But then I did decide to drive back up there Sunday, and I was glad I did. My wallet's not. I can tell you that right now. But I'm glad I did because I picked up one of the other knives that was on my wish list. And that's going to be Sunday, day 2 for me, day 3 of the event. And we will talk about that just a minute as soon as I clean these up. Okay, so now let's look at day 2 for me, which was Sunday, day 3 of the event. Okay, so then I came back up there. I had no intention on coming back up. So why did I come back up there? There were 2 items I wanted to pick up at this event. Hubertus Shell Puller and a Latama. So I bought the Hubertus Shell Puller from Lathams Vintage Knives, and we had a discussion about a classic Italian stiletto that I have that's broken, that's going to need some repairs. And he was interested in looking at it. So I told him I'd bring it back next year. Ended up changing my mind, brought it up there Sunday, which was today. And I did not know he had any Latamas. I didn't look that much. I was rushed Saturday. I didn't have as much time as I wanted. And so I was there till they closed. I didn't realize he had any Latamas. So when I brought that back up, he was super interested. He had stickered for $5.50. It's a limited edition. Let me see if I can focus on this. So it's a Latama, which I have a large switchblade collection, but no Latamas. And let's see if I can see that. So limited run, 261 of 2010. Huh. Odd number. Yeah. So in any event, he had this and then a real expensive one in the thousands, which I'm not interested in. That's above my price point. So we discussed this one, and I really like the horn on the back, but I wasn't in love with the translucent horn. A lot of people like that, and it's got a good look, but I wasn't really in love with it, and I'll show you in a minute the one I do like. I like it, but I didn't love it, especially for the price. But anyway, we came to terms, and we're able to do an even swap for my vintage broken one for this one. So I left real happy, and half the reason he did that is he pretty much knew I'd be back next year to buy more from him. And he's right, I will. You know, he said he'd get me hooked on the Latamas because the build quality is a lot better. It's a much thicker blade, spring, backspace, everything. So it's as far as I know, it's the highest quality handmade Italian stiletto, Latama. So I'm not an expert, but I do have a pretty big collection, know a little bit. But in any event, he felt like I would be hooked if I bought that. So we did an even swap. And he was right, because as soon as I left, the day prior, I actually talked with the Latama table. They didn't have a business card, so I just printed this out, and I just put that in there. Latama.net is their website. So I had seen them the year prior. Their stuff was a little beyond my price point. Well worth it, just beyond my price point. So I talked to him Saturday. We weren't able to come to terms. They're, you know, they sell their stuff. It's in a, they're not eager to compromise at all. So anyway, after picking this up, I was a little more determined and went back, talked with the guy. Real nice guy. I can't remember his name. He actually designed some other knives that are real cool that they sell. And some of the vendors sell as well. And we came to terms. It was mainly me, but he did compromise a little. It was mainly me compromising, though, and I'm real happy with it. And he threw in a few little extras. I like my little stickers and stuff like that. But let me show you. A lot of the Italian stilettos I have this look horn to them, and I prefer that. It's all preference, and everybody's got their own preference. But that's what I was looking for. And same quality and everything. And again, this is a limited run, so I certainly have no regrets. I'm super happy to have this because now I've got two in my collection. I've wanted one for years, and now I have two. So I went ahead and bought this from them, and really like that color horn. And let me fire it. And now this one's not a limited edition or anything, but they are not cheap. Not cheap at all. So in any event, I was able to get two Latamas. So now again, the whole reason I went to the show was for one shell puller and one Latama. So I'm happy about that. But then while I was there, I kept buying stuff, which was not the plan. So let me set these to the side. Again, let's just look at that. I really like that. Now this is nice. I like it, but I really like this. But anyway, let's set those. I think my family's back. They left town. I stayed for the blade show. So then, also I did another swap for him for another vintage working automatic. So I just got this little AKC horn. I think it's buffalo horn, bullhorn. We did it not an even swap. I threw a little cash in with that, but I was happy with the trade. It was American Auto that I'd given them, and then threw a little bit of cash in with that. So I was happy with that. And I think I'm going to have to cut this video. Okay, so a couple more things before we move into the other knives. I was really hoping Latama had some stickers. I looked online, never could find any. So I asked them, and that all they've got is a little patch and this sticker. They're going to try to come up with some, but it'd be nice because I have a lot of cases and I like to label what's in what. Gives me a better idea. So anyway, maybe they'll come out with some of those in the future. But one other point of detail, and I'm going to do an extensive video on this in the future in a web post on my website. But AKC actually has a brand of AKC World that is made not in Italy. So you have to be careful getting these. It's got to say AKC Italy. Okay. Now, to complicate things, though, there's a lot of counterfeits. And I actually have some of those counterfeits. I'm going to make a web post on how to spot it. So I've accidentally gotten some. and some I got that I kind of suspected were, and then was going to use them to make that video and web post how to spot that. So a lot of counterfeits out there. There's even some Hubertus counterfeits, and there's a website dedicated to how to spot that. So once I make that video, I'll link that website and I'll put it in my web post. So just kind of be aware of that. If it's any online site where the price is too good to be true, it is too good to be true. It's either counterfeit or it's the AKC World, which I do own some AKC World, but they don't go in the same case with my classic, authentic Italian switchblades. So now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the last items I purchased, which was pretty much the last little bit of the day. So I had no intention of buying this knife at all, but I was offered a cheaper price on a Balis, so I ended up buying this one. It's kind of a cool little knife. It's got the shark lock, and I've got a lot of Demco knives, so I figured that was pretty cool. I went ahead and got it. It's a little hard to do on camera, but I'd kind of had my eye on one of these to go on sale, just because I've got a lot of Balisongs. It's just a cheap aluminum trainer, but I got a decent little price on it to buy both of them together. So usually I'm opportunistic on all my purchases. Most of what I buy is sale or extreme sale. So anyway, I just went ahead and splurged and got those items. So they're pretty cool. I like them. I've got a lot of Flytanium carbon fiber scales for my bug outs. I got a massive Benchmade collection, so I like a lot of their carbon fiber scales, which is going to lead into our next knife. This is the last purchase, and I really hemmed and hawed on this one because I had spent way too much money. I spent all the money I had set aside to buy a nice motorcycle helmet, some boots, a pants, and I spent all that at this show. So I guess I got to work a little overtime. So this company, Axial, so I've heard really good things about them. So it's US, it's an OTF, and made in the US. So materials and assembled. The guy I talked to at the desk was a real nice guy. I wasn't trying to give him a hard time or haggle or make his life difficult. Real nice guy. Talked with him for a while. Their value for the knife is really good. So paying full price would be well worth every penny. But I had already spent a lot. And then I also, they didn't have the blade shape that I wanted. I wanted a spear. But they did have Tonto. So I kind of molded around. I like this carbon fiber because it matches a lot of my fat carbon Benchmade. So I've got a few of those for my Benchmades. And so I like that. This is aluminum, but it actually feels like titanium. So there's so many different grades of aluminum, and I'm not a metal expert, but I really like the feel of it. It kind of feels like titanium. A lot of times I don't like aluminum, but that's got a real nice feel to it. I really like that carbon fiber, and that action is just, that is a really nice action. And I've got a decent little OTF collection, so I really kind of wanted to add one of these to it. So they didn't have the exact blade shape I wanted. It was the end of the day, but we finally came to terms. Super nice guy, so I was happy with the purchase. Told him I'd go ahead and link this website, his website, Axial, on my website and on the YouTube videos and all of that, just to try to, you know, help out a little bit, because I'm real happy with that that purchase. And so basically this is day 2 for me, is the 2 Latamas, the AKC, the OTF, and then these 2. And you know, by the time I combined that with day 1 purchases, that was way more than I was going to purchase, and it just got a little out of hand. Last year I planned on purchasing about that much, but I was prepared financially, but not as prepared knowing what I was looking at with proper prices and whatnot. So I didn't buy a whole lot last year, but oh, I made up for it this year. I made up for it. So this'll all add nicely to the collection, and I'll post videos of all the cases and the DIY, how to make my little case inserts and all that stuff. That's all forthcoming. So anyway, if you haven't been to Blade Show, definitely go to one. Atlanta Blade Show is the largest in the world, is my understanding. It's well worth it. You saw all the stickers and, you know, a lot of swag they give away and stuff like that. It's 100% worth the entry fee to go. Next year, I'm going to try to do all 3 days. That's my plan. Also, I've got additional information and photos of each knife in this post on my website.